I'm Micheal Burke. I'm an economist. I blog for lots of things, including Socialist Economic Bulletin. I'm a strong supporter of the People's Assembly against austerity, and I think it's important that the movement has the discussion about the economic alternatives. I think the really important thing to remember is when they do these cuts, when they cut wages and they cut public services, the money hasn't disappeared, it's just gone somewhere else. So if your rent has gone up, that means you've got less money, but your landlord has got more. If your food bill's gone up, you've got less, but Tesco's has got more, and so on. So the money hasn't disappeared. It's a transfer. That's how austerity works. It's a transfer of incomes from poor people to rich people, from workers to big business. So there's money there to have an alternative. It's just having the political opportunity to achieve that. Well, I think it's great actually, both from things like the People's Assembly and what I think is connected, all part of the same process, the rise of Jeremy Corbyn, is that people increasingly want an alternative and are fed up to the back teeth with austerity. And that's a change, because it wasn't always the case. A lot of people bought into the idea that we've maxed out the credit card and we have to do something to correct it. The fundamental thing in the British economy and the Western economies generally is there's an investment crisis. Firms aren't investing. That's why you either have a situation in countries like France where there's no new jobs being created, or in Britain where they're low paid, low skilled jobs, 0 hours contracts. It's because there's no investment. And I think that the answer is for the public sector to lead an investment. I think it's quite important that to recognise that, because there's a really bizarre situation in Britain which doesn't really exist in other countries, even the ones that have implemented austerity, which is that amid austerity we have this ridiculous house price boom, which is just extortionate in terms of rents, which has a knock-on effect, but also unaffordability. We're just not building homes, and the obvious answer would be build homes. But actually, government policy is not only going along with the so-called home builders in this country who don't build homes, who hang on to land to drive prices up, but actually it's their economic policy. Because what they did to get re-elected is they got the economy going with things like boosting house purchases, not house building, house purchases, and that was their answer. And what I find really disturbing, really worrying about the not very distant future, is that at some point those types of things always crash. I think what the alternative is to build homes, and it's not that difficult. It's not. We used to build a lot of homes, but we don't build them anymore. So I wouldn't worry about house prices falling for a long, long time in Britain, because we build about 100,000 homes a year, and we need about 250,000 homes a year. So we're nowhere near that. And then to deal with a backlog, which is basically people who would like to be able to own their own home but can't, or on council waiting lists, or just simply can't afford to buy in the private sector, that's another about 3 to 6 million, depending on how you measure it. So worrying about house prices falling from too much home building, I think I'm unlikely to see it in my lifetime. I wouldn't worry about that. We're building, I say we, but other people are doing a lot more than me, but together we're building a movement of anti-austerity. And part of that has to be to talk about the alternatives. So I want to encourage as many people as possible to really start to take an interest. It's going to be a collective endeavour. It won't be one genius sucks it out of their thumb. It's going to be what it answers our needs, and to convince other people we have to involve them. So I think everyone, as much as they can, should try and get involved in these debates as well.